Welcome, and here is part 2 of my top 120 best albums of 2025 after uploading part 1 of it. Number 96, Glory, Perfume Genius. On Glory, Mike Hadrias delivers a deeply human record about aging, anxiety, grief, love, and learning how to exist alongside uncertainty rather than trying to overcome it. The album mixes alt-rock, chamber pop, and dreamlike balladry into something intimate, warm, and quietly devastating. Number 95, Sia, Sia Gray. With Sia, Sia Gray transforms heartbreak into a constantly shifting art-pop experience that blends folk, shoegaze, country, glitch pop, jazz, and experimental electronics into something deeply personal and unpredictable. The album refuses stability, and that's exactly what makes it so compelling. Number 94, Can't Lose My Soul, Annie and the Caldwells. After over 4 decades of making music together, Annie and the Caldwells finally deliver a breakout album that feels completely alive, unfiltered, and deeply rooted in community. Recorded largely live in their Mississippi church home base, the album blends gospel, funk, soul, and blues into something that feels less like a polished studio product and more like being inside the room while the music is happening. Number 93, Amidst the Ruins, Sewer. On Amidst the Ruins, Andy Marshall once again blends atmospheric black metal, Celtic folk, and Scottish history into something grand, mournful, and deeply cinematic. The album feels like wandering through ancient highlands under storm clouds, beautiful, tragic, and overwhelming in scale. Number 92, Iris Silver Mist, Jenny Vall. On Iris Silver Mist, Jenny Vall crafts an art-pop album built around memory, perfume, cigarette smoke, and the strange feeling of revisiting versions of yourself that no longer fully exist. The album drifts through ambient pop, spoken word passages, electronic textures, and dreamlike experimentation, creating an experience that feels less like a traditional record and more like a trail of fading memories. Number 91, There's a Whole World Out There, Arm's Length. With their sophomore album, Arm's Length take the emotional intensity of their debut and expand it into something more ambitious, reflective, and musically adventurous. The record balances explosive emo catharsis with softer moments of memory, regret, and vulnerability, showing a band growing more confident in both songwriting and emotional depth. Number 90, Black Hole Superette, Aesop Rock. On Black Hole Superette, Aesop Rock turns ordinary life into surreal poetry, transforming errands, memories, neighborhood details, and random observations into something philosophical, funny, strange, and unexpectedly emotional. The album feels like wandering through a convenience store where every object suddenly becomes existential. Number 89, Fairyland Codex, Tropical Fuck Storm. On Fairyland Codex, Tropical Fuck Storm deliver a surreal apocalypse soundtrack filled with noise rock chaos, twisted beauty, political dread, and emotional collapse. The album sounds like the end of the world narrated through broken speakers, fever dreams, and panic attacks, but somehow it's also deeply human underneath all the destruction. Number 88, The Art of Loving, Olivia Dean. On The Art of Loving, Olivia Dean delivers a beautifully understated soul pop album about romance, emotional maturity, vulnerability, and self-respect. Blending warm 70s-inspired soft rock, Motown flourishes, jazz soul intimacy, and modern pop songwriting, the album feels timeless without becoming nostalgic cosplay. Number 87, Lifetime, Erica de Cassier. On Lifetime, Erica de Cassier crafts a hypnotic late-night world built from downtempo grooves, trip-hop haze, soft synth textures, and classic early 90s R&B atmosphere. The album feels like a memory you can't fully place, warm, intimate, nostalgic, and drifting through static at 2 a.m. Number 86, The Boy Who Played the Harp, Dave. On The Boy Who Played the Harp, Dave delivers one of the most introspective albums of his career, trading flashy moments for deep self-examination, spiritual conflict, and brutally honest storytelling. The album strips things back with sparse piano-led production, allowing every lyric to hit with full weight. Fame, guilt, loneliness, responsibility, and faith all become part of a larger reckoning about what success actually costs. Number 85, Loop Glamour, Loop Cinema. On Loop, Loop Cinema delivers a dazzling maximalist pop experience filled with glitchy production, retro internet aesthetics, surreal club energy, and non-stop sonic experimentation. The album feels like scrolling through a neon-lit internet dream at 3 a.m., beautiful, chaotic, hypnotic, and impossible to fully predict. Number 84, Waiting Room, Catherine Moore. Written inside an abandoned Icelandic fish factory, Waiting Room transforms isolation, fear, and emotional decay into a chilling sonic experience. Blending dark ambient, experimental folk, industrial textures, and field recordings, Catherine Moore creates an album that feels cold, empty, intimate, and deeply unsettling all at once. This isn't just an album, it feels like wandering through psychological ruins. Number 83, Carving the Stone, For Those I Love. On Carving the Stone, David Balfe transforms modern Dublin into a portrait of grief, economic pressure, fading community, and emotional survival. Blending spoken word poetry, techno pulses, breakbeats, post-punk textures, piano motifs, and Irish folk influences, the album feels like a love letter to a city slowly disappearing under capitalism and disillusionment. It's angry, heartbroken, reflective, and deeply human underneath all the exhaustion. Number 82, Scorched Earth, Harakiri for the Sky. On Scorched Earth, Harakiri for the Sky continue their mastery of emotionally charged post-black metal, blending towering melodies, blast beats, post-rock atmosphere, and crushing emotional weight into something both beautiful and devastating. The album moves like grief itself, building slowly, collapsing violently, then rising again through massive crescendos and soaring guitar harmonies. It's heavy, melancholic, cinematic, and deeply human beneath all the chaos. Number 81, Never Enough, Turnstile. After the breakout success of Glow On, Turnstile return with an even bigger and more adventurous record. Never Enough pushes hardcore into new territory, blending crushing riffs, shimmering synths, new wave melodies, ambient passages, house textures, and massive hooks into a sound that feels explosive yet completely natural. This isn't a band abandoning hardcore. It's a band expanding its possibilities in real time. Number 80, Juniper, Joy Crooks. 4 years after her Mercury Prize-nominated debut Skin, Joy Crooks returns with an album built on resilience, vulnerability, self-reflection, and emotional growth. Named after the hardy juniper plant, Juniper finds Crooks navigating anxiety, love, family trauma, identity, and healing through a gorgeous blend of soul, jazz, trip-hop, R&B, and atmospheric late-night production. The album feels intimate and deeply personal, yet never loses its sense of confidence and warmth. Number 79, Choke Enough, OK Lou. On her long-awaited debut album, OK Lou delivers a dreamy, futuristic pop experience that feels suspended between reality and memory. Blending hyperpop, ambient pop, Y2K aesthetics, and classical-inspired melodies, Choke Enough creates a world where shimmering synths, delicate vocals, and subtle textures become more important than traditional pop explosions. Rather than chasing huge drops, OK Lou lets atmosphere and emotion do the heavy lifting, and the results are often mesmerizing. Number 78, A Door Left Open, Orthodox. Orthodox return with a record that feels less like an album and more like a blunt force assault. A Door Left Open takes everything brutal about modern metalcore and beatdown hardcore and pushes it to the extreme. Crushing breakdowns, chaotic technical riffing, suffocating production, and relentless aggression combine to create one of the heaviest albums released in 2025. This isn't an album interested in accessibility. It's built for impact.